Hello, welcome to another video by Indicator Vault. My name is Ronald, and in this video, I'm going to go over some ways to use the Easy Wolfe Wave and Supply Demand Pro indicators together. And we're going to use this example here of the British Pound Australian Dollar chart. And I'll bring up the Candlestick Pattern Pro from time to time as well to use that as extra confirmation. So we have here this big move down, and then price is reacting into this demand zone. Of course, we can see here we've had these very strong movements up here on the daily chart, and we're going to go into some confirmations down here to trade from. Of course, we can see here this big candle down, this supply zone form, and then price just these 2 days just barely wicks into it and then drops here. So seeing this on the higher time frame, you don't need much confirmation on higher time frames to get the direction. So, once price is coming into this demand zone here, we can be looking for buys and confirmations for price to start to move upwards. Now, of course, it consolidates some, this wick here, and then right here just touches the top of it here, and then digs a little bit deeper into it finally before the strong move up. And so price can consolidate and just get choppy and really tough to see what it's going to do. And so that's why you always want to refine your time frames and your entries and just get as many confirmations as you can. So let's go to the 4-hour next. Now here we are on the 4-hour, and while this is kind of an intermediate time frame, just because I will go to the 15-minute and 5-minute, I still consider this a higher time frame. So we can see here, and my point in saying that is, you can just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. For instance, so this was where that first wick into the daily demand zone is right here. And so price is in the daily demand zone, and then of course consolidates, and then finally break of structure here with another demand zone forming inside of the daily demand. So we don't need to overcomplicate it. That is enough confirmations to start looking for buys, right? A demand zone inside of a demand zone and price retracing into it. But let's go into some of this. The reason we're not really looking into getting any buys here is there's no clean break of structure. We get the first touch into the daily demand zone here, but look, a wick up here and price never gets up to it. It makes another lower low. Does take out this high, but can't take out this high here. And what do we see? Low, another lower low. So there's no valid break of structure for us to start looking for buys yet. It is still heavy. It's still showing signs that it wants to poke lower because there's no clean break of structures, but only until here. Let me actually mark out the opening of this order block here. Clean close above this high, not quite this high, but this one is fine. This is an intermediate term high with a strong break and close above it. So that is the sign we're looking for, all while this is happening inside the daily demand zone. And then as that breaks, we then get the 4-hour demand zone. Price retraces into it and then moves up. But we can go down to some other time frames as well. Let's go to the 1 hour and see what we can find there. And again, actually not a whole lot. Now, these are kind of the time frames, kind of the 1 hour and lower. I'll like to start adding some more indicators or more confirmations. And of course, we can see we have yet to find a Wolfe Wave pattern form. So we're still kind of sitting on our hands. We have one here where they get a move up, but that's not the price action we're looking at. So we're at the 1 hour now. And so we have our confirmations to start looking for bullishness, right? Here's that break of structure. Remember, this yellow line was the opening price of that 4 hour order block. And yeah, we get it retracing into it. And right here, we do have a bullish inverted hammer. Now, I would have preferred this pattern to form while touching the opening of the 4 hour order block. We don't get that, but that's all right. We're still waiting for price to touch the order block. So we get that. There's still, bullishness. We're looking just for entries, for any, extra confirmation to get in to a trade. But we don't stop at just the 1 hour. We still have some other time frames to refine to. So let's drop down to the 15-minute now. And here is the big thing right here. We can see a Wolfe Wave finally form. And where does it form? It forms right as it's, touching, as it digs into the 4 hour order block. So again, just to reiterate, we had the break of structure with this run up on the 4 hour, which validated this movement here as an order block. I marked out the opening price. 1 hour, still not a whole lot of confirmation, even though we're still looking for buys. We're not switching our bias to sells based off of what the 1 hour is. We're just looking for confirmations and refinements, for entry purposes, because we believe price is going to go up. And so finally, we go down to the 15-minute and we have that. So not only we have the bullish Wolfe Wave forming inside of the 4 hour order block, we even have an inverted hammer pattern that is also formed while touching the opening of the 4 hour order block. So as soon as this Wolfe Wave pattern forms, in my mind, I'm getting in on this candle here with a low probably below this demand zone. If you can notice, the low of the Wolfe Wave is right there, and the demand zone is a few pips below it. And so just to be safe, I'd be getting in on the opening of this next candle. As soon as that candle closes with the Wolfe Wave forming, that is a valid entry in my mind. And of course, we see it just skyrockets up. And one thing about the Wolfe Wave that I love is it's easy to pick out take profit levels. One, with this angle here, you saw that green dashed line. You draw that out. This will be a great take profit zone or price level. As soon as you see that trend line broken, that can be a take profit one. You could also just use these highs as take profit one, and then maybe this is take profit two. And then another way I like to even do that is with fib extensions. Let me get this on here for you. You can see, You can take the range of the last leg down in the Wolfe Wave and then extend it out. You can either do half deviations. I prefer just to do whole ones, the 2, 3, and 4. Of course, we see it easily meets all of those price levels. So this was just some, tips and, confirmations of, getting an eye for confirmations to get into these sort of trades. Of course, we see it's just a massive trade. And so for R&R purposes, we got in at the opening of this candle here with our stop just about below the demand zone. Taking out that first higher high, 2 to 1. For the trend line, you're looking at about 3.75. Second standard deviation over 5. Third standard deviation about an 8 to 1. And then for the fourth, over 10. Of course, these are all, depending on your risk appetite. If you're a swing trader, you could have held for all of this, but with the Wolfe Wave, using standard deviations on the fibs, and then of course this trend line here, there's so many ways to take partials along the way, and then even move your stop loss up. You could, after getting in here, let's say it took out the high, maybe take some partials, move your stop loss to the 50% mark here, and then just keep following it up. Take more partials. Obviously, you see the 1.5 perfectly crosses with that trend line here. So you could have taken more partials here, move it up to the 1, the high of here. Of course, we see it never gets stopped out on any of these. And, once it hits here, doesn't come back down. Well, it does go above here and then wicks here first. But again, that's just depending on your appetite. Goes up here and then just continues to fly. So just so many things to work around, and work on your risk management and just see what you prefer in trades like these. So many different ways to look at taking partials and taking profits along the way. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, best of luck trading.